hear me out when I say it is not your fault you hate your clothes. When you bought them, you didn't know any better.
It's not your fault.
But I want you to imagine for a second that you have the knowledge and skill set of, say, a stylist, where you're able to quickly recognize what is most flattering on you specifically. With this video, you're gonna walk away with a game plan to do just that. Whether you have this video playing in the background or you're making eye contact with me and taking notes, you wanna watch this video all the way through. So what we're gonna cover, 2 really important paradigms, concepts, approaches, whatever you wanna call it, and then I'm gonna share with you practical tips in the form of an action item list. That way you can walk away from this video being like, all right, know exactly what I gotta do, got a game plan, mission, dress well is a go. You can call it a mission, you can call it whatever you want, but regardless, you're gonna know exactly what to do out of this video. So let's jump right in. First, you wanna take this down either in your notes, write it down. You need to remember this. This is gonna change the way you dress. 2 words, Kibbe ID. In short, Kibbe ID is a program, a method, a paradigm that helps you identify your style ID. I think of it like horoscopes. With a horoscope, based on when you were born, what day you were born, you have certain personality characteristics. With Kibbe ID, instead of your birth date, it's your shape, your bone structure, how you distribute your weight, your facial features that help you identify what your actual style ID is. All right, so let's make sense of this. What is Kibbe ID? Where does this come from? In a nutshell, a gentleman, Mr. David Kibbe, published a book called Metamorphosis in the 1980s. This book is out of print. I looked for it on eBay and it is going for a pretty penny. Goes to show how valuable this content is. But anyhow, in this book, he details that we all have a mix of masculine and feminine traits, both on our face and on our body. And by identifying these features of ours, we can identify our ID. And there are a list of Kibbe IDs that range from masculine, feminine, petite, long, so on, so forth. And if you're curious, like, I'm a woman, I'm feminine, what he means is these traits, feminine being soft and rounded, masculine being more sharp and angular. We all have a mix of this. So even for me, my face, my eyebrows are naturally sharp. Okay, that's more masculine. My nose is a bit rounded. That's more feminine. There's this mix of these masculine and feminine traits. On our bodies, you may be a little bit more supple in areas, which is like a feminine trait. You may be more angular in certain areas, which is a masculine trait, but we all have a mix of this. And so the genius of this is based on these mix of traits, you can identify your kind of body type to then identify what looks most flattering and emphasizes that body type of yours. So the Kibbe IDs are romantic, theatrical romantic, dramatic, soft dramatic, flamboyant natural, soft classic, dramatic classic, soft gamine, and flamboyant gamine. If you don't know any of this, it means nothing to you right now, but just know there's a variety of Kibbe traits, and based on these characteristics you have, it's gonna help identify which you are. Okay, so there are quizzes out there, many of them actually, that are gonna help you be able to identify what Kibbe ID you are. I'm going to link what I think is the most simple. If anybody out there finds an even more simple one, please comment below. But it'll just give you a starting point because there is no official Kibbe ID quiz. David Kibbe never made an official quiz. Instead, the Kibbe ID aficionados have developed them, but it's not a perfect science. But at the very least, it'll give you an idea of what ID you are. That's the whole point. And it's important that you're very honest with these quizzes because you may be pulled to answer in a certain way because you want to be a certain Kibbe ID type and you think you know what that Kibbe ID is. But the more honest you are, the more you're going to get to the root of like what looks best on you, what's most flattering. And that's the whole point here. Okay, second in your Kibbe ID journey is to go down the YouTube rabbit hole. So I'm going to compile a playlist for you to make this extra simple, but by all means go above and beyond. There are channels dedicated to Kibbe. That's how awesome this is. In these videos, you'll also learn about celebrities that may share your Kibbe ID, and then you can take inspiration from them as well. So let's cover why this is worth doing. In my journey, I myself identify as a soft dramatic. Following the styling direction of soft dramatic works for me. So honestly, even if I have this wrong, I really don't care. I love how I dress now and I really feel empowered. I no longer waste time like trying to make something work that is never gonna work for me. So what is soft dramatic? With soft dramatic, the major feature is length. I have a long ass face, I have long ass hands, I'm just long. My limbs are long. My husband says if we have kids, he's like, I hope they have your length. I'm just long. Do you know that I used to shake men's hands like this because I didn't want to demasculate them because my hands are so long? I'm long. That is my major feature. The second major feature I have, surprisingly enough, is curve. Your girl has sneakers. What are sneakers? Well, the way I dress, you may not know it, but I have pretty large sweater kittens. They are sneaky titties, okay? And I like to keep them under wraps because, surprisingly enough, sometimes large breasts aren't the most flattering. If you know, you know. Don't get me wrong, they're fun at times, but you know, I kind of keep them under wraps. It's these two features of mine, the length and then the curve, that really stands out to me as being soft dramatic. So by knowing I'm soft dramatic, I've learned these key fundamentals that work for me and how I dress. So this is one that's kind of counterintuitive, but because I have such length, it's ideal for me to play upon that length. I'm not wearing long sleeve shirts now, but I like how I look in long sleeve blouses and just monochromatic outfits that just extend my length. They play up on that length even more. Now it's counterintuitive because I would think if you're extra long, you probably want to balance that out by shortening things, you know, to balance it out. But it actually just enhances and looks so much better when I play up on that length. I love wedges because they're comfortable. I don't care. Somebody said they're out of style. I don't care. They're comfortable. Wedges even add greater length to me. Wide leg, long pants, length, length, length. When I do that, it's a statement, and I just love the way that looks. Large patterns also work really well. So there's these different fundamentals that you'll learn based on your Kibbe ID that are really going to help you identify what works best for you. Because you can do what you want. I'm wearing a short sleeve. I don't care. I like this top, okay? I like the color, which we're going to get into. For the most part, when you're looking at something, you're going to be quickly able to assess what does or doesn't work for you. So as you'll see in the game plan you have, you'll take your quiz, you'll get a sense of which Kibbe ID you are. You're going to kind of study it to an extent, and then you're going to be able to identify celebrities that have that Kibbe ID that you identify with. So fortunately for me, Sofia Vergara is also a soft dramatic, and whether it's she or her stylist or a mix of the two, she understands soft dramatic, and I really take note from her. She is a soft dramatic celebrity I want to emulate, but then there's certain things that are just not my style. I feel uncomfortable if I feel too exposed. Like I have some girlfriends that are like, you should wear some more revealing blouses. I just don't feel comfortable with that. Works really well for Sofia, doesn't work for me. There's not a perfect formula. Everybody's different. You got to do what you're comfortable with. So as you can see, a major component to finding clothes you love is identifying and understanding your Kibbe ID. The second component is determining your color season. So what colors look great on you?
Dressing to your season complements your natural features, and you can curate your wardrobe with colors that actually flatter you.
This is also revolutionary because you know what? Life is too short to be wearing black all the time. When you wear a top that is your color, you feel the difference big time, and you can see the difference big time. But also, like Kibbe ID, don't take this as gospel. Just because you'll identify your color season doesn't mean all those other colors are off limits. Do you? So how do you find out your color season? Well, there are apps, of course, I'm gonna link it below, where essentially you take a photo of yourself, you then pair it up with these different color wheels, and you can really easily see which colors look best on you. But even ahead of that, if you'd like to, think back to the colors you love on you. That's another great indicator. As you can see, that second component is really straightforward, but man, this is one of those things where it's just transformed how I dress and how I feel about how I dress, implementing some colors. So let's quickly recap and turn this into an action item game plan so you can walk away from this video being like, all right, ready to go. I'm gonna figure this out. First thing I'd recommend, find a friend that you'd want to do this with. Be like, hey, this random girl Rachel has this video, watch it to the end. I think we should do this together. Because having a friend to partner with makes everything so much more fun. Out of all the personal development stuff any of us do, what really moves the needle is the quality of our relationships. I'm learning that more and more. I'm sure I'll make a video on it. Building quality relationships is most worthwhile and most fulfilling. So embark on this with a friend. And you both can set aside some time to dive into this. So So take one of the Kibbe IDs, but take it with a grain of salt. Watch the Kibbe ID playlist. I'm gonna link for you. Schedule a check-in with each other. Be like, hey, on X date, let's connect on this and like talk through what we learned and which ID we think we are. By that point, you'll have identified what Kibbe ID resonates most with you. Again, don't put too much pressure on finding the right one. I really think if you can even get out of this, like knowing the fundamentals, kind of like what I did, that's all worthwhile. Don't stress over getting it right. Find your color season and take a screenshot. Save that screenshot into a dedicated album. That way you can easily refer to it when you're shopping. And then based on the celebrities you've identified that also share your Kibbe ID, you can take screenshots and save that to your Mission Dress Well album too. People love Pinterest too, and as great as Pinterest is, I just find I make these boards and I never really look back to them. Whereas with an album, I'm much more inclined to, and it's just all right there. And although these are all really practical tips, really you're gonna want to continue studying Kibbe ID so that it becomes second nature, so that when you go and you look at an influencer and they're rocking a great outfit, you're gonna be able to recognize, does that work for me or not? And of course, keep in mind, these things are all just intended to give you direction. It may be that there's like a rule with one of the Kibbe IDs, you shouldn't wear this or you should wear that, or with color seasons, you shouldn't wear this, you should wear that. If you find that you disagree, great, disagree, do you. You know, like I have a friend, she's like, oh, one of these apps said she's a certain color season, but one of the colors they dissuade her from wearing, she loves. Who cares? Wear what you love. But this really just helps you hone in. You'll see, it's very exciting. So as you can tell, we covered so much in this video, but my intention is to provide you really simple and straightforward action steps. That way you can continue on to understand your body type, your style, what works for you, what clothing agrees with you, so you stop wasting time and money trying to emulate something that's never gonna work because it's just not aligned. And I think in this way, knowledge is power, knowledge is fuel. I have saved so much money, so much time, because I can now quickly look at something that I think is cute, but recognize that does or doesn't work for me. So I really hope that all these things I shared with you empower you to be able to do just that. You know, we opened up this video with, it's not your fault you hate your clothes. And now we can close with, now you know some resources that should really help you love your clothes. So I hope you love this video. Thank you so much for watching. Continue hanging out with me and watch some of these other videos YouTube recommends. And yeah, you should also probably subscribe and hit all notifications so you don't miss out on another video. Thank you so much.